Okay, please tell me your full name.
Full name?
Yes.
Dipinder Kaur Jab. Now second name Jabbi.
Okay. Okay. My name is Reena Kapoor, and I'm operating the camera as well. Today's date is 25th of January 2014, and I'm interviewing Mrs. Deep Jabbi for the first time in San Francisco, California. And this interview is being conducted on behalf of the 1947 Partition Archive. So thank you, Mrs. Jabbi, for your time and for agreeing to share your life's experiences with us. I'll be asking you a few questions, but I'd like to start with a few basics. Please tell me your full name.
Dipinder Kaur Jabbi.
And what was your name at birth?
I don't think my parents named me Dipinder Kaur, and then they started calling me Deepi.
And what was your last name at birth?
Singh.
Okay. And did you have any other nicknames?
No.
Okay. And please tell me your father's full name.
Kesar Singh.
And your mother's full name?
Ravel Kaur. Both are fragrant flowers.
How do you spell Ravel?
Ravel.
And what is your place of birth?
Pullarwan in Sargodha district.
And Pullarwan, is it a village or a town?
No, small town. My father had a very big industry there, cotton rolling mills. And he was having that cotton rolling mills until 1947 took place.
Could you spell Pullarwan?
Yeah, Phularwan.
And what is your birth date?
5th November 1940.
And was there an official birth date as well?
No, it is the same.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, how far does your family history go? What do you know about your family history, about your father, grandfather, and
Well, whatever
that?
I've heard from my parents or my elder sisters, my grandfather, he used to have lot of lands and factories also. And when Sargodha as a big town started getting built, he made lot of property there also in the district town of Sargodha. And when he passed away, he left the lands for my uncle's son, Tayaji's son, because my Tayaji had passed away very young. And the factory was left for my father to run it. So my father used to go often to Karachi to send the rolled cotton mills, cotton rolls, to be sent to England through ships. So this I have heard that he used to often travel to Karachi and bring lot of things. And my mother says that all imported things used to be there. He was so fond of collecting nice things. And then, of course, we are 9 brothers and sisters, and I am the 8th, last but one. And my sisters and brothers, they tell me that my father owned horses, and they were all taught riding. He used to have a car, of course, and they used to have buffaloes and cows also within the house area and all, because within the factory it was a big house and a lot of staff being employed for the factory as well as the household. And so it must have been great fun, but I missed out because I was very young. And my younger sister is 2 years younger than me, so we were just treated the youngest lot and not really included amongst the elder brothers and sisters. Earlier that used to be the culture. And then my sisters, all the 3 older sisters, they studied in Cannade College in Lahore. And when my eldest brother, he was finishing his school, my father thought that he should have a house built in Lahore so that we all could be taught there. Since this cotton rolling mills, it was only functioning during winters, never in summers.
Why was that?
Probably the cotton was not available, or in summers it was too hot to do that, because my father had his own generator for the factory. There was no electricity there, and I really don't know about that. But this I know that I was told that in summers they all went, we were also taken along to the hill stations for 3 to 4 months, different hill stations.
Which ones?
Kashmir and Shimla, Mussoorie, wherever, you know. I mean, I have heard lot of stories how my elder brothers and sisters, along with other cousins, they used to have fun and all, but I really don't have any memory of that. Then, when my father moved to Lahore, that I have very faint memories. It was early 1947, and he started. First, he bought a house so that we could all live there, and then he bought a plot so that he could build a house of his own choice. And so, when the riots started, yes.
So I just want to understand. Your whole family moved from Pullarwan
To this place.
to Lahore.
Yeah.
Okay, and this was mostly for education.
Mainly for education point of view.
Okay.
Though I have 3 eldest sisters, then all the brothers, and then 2 of us. And my already 3rd sister had gone to Cannade College.
In
and
Lahore.
And my eldest sister had got married in 1945. So 2 sisters were still going to college, and in 47. When my father decided, because my brother had also finished his high school and he needed to go to engineering college, he felt that we should move, and he could operate for his work during winters from Lahore going to Pullarwan and all that. So then when these riots started taking place from April onwards in Lahore, I mean, it must have been really traumatic, but as we really had a very protected kind of life, large family, lot of extended family also, and especially we youngest 3 children. I mean, we were really pushed back so that we don't come to know what serious things are happening around and all that. But
What was the time that you had moved to Lahore?
About April, May.
April, May of 47?
That's right.
Okay, and so almost immediately did you start hearing about the riots?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were already taking place not only in Lahore but outside Lahore, like Peshawar and all these areas. They had started taking place.
So what is your recollection of what you heard?
Only this, that the things are not safe. But my father was very optimistic. He said even if the Britishers leave and the Punjab is partitioned, Lahore will be with India. This I remember, that he was very optimistic about it, that Lahore will remain with India. So then in August, first week of August, things were really getting bad in Lahore. We used to only hear like firecrackers. It was summer and we used to sleep outside on top of the roof, you know, that used to be the practice in Punjab. And I might have seen fire here and there and all, but I really don't have much of the memory for this. And then on the 7th of August, my father, he used to have a big station wagon. And my Dadiji, that's grandmother, she used to live with us. And excepting my eldest sister who was married, the rest 8 of us, my Dadiji, both my parents, they just loaded the station wagon, and my father said 15th August is going to be the D-Day for India and Lahore will be in India and we will just go to the hills and I'll come back and settle down here.
And what time of day was it when you...
About morning, I think, because my mother's brother, he had gone to Kullu Manali, and he had written to my father, okay, as long as there are riots going on, why are you staying on there? So you bring the family here and I've got a house fixed here and we will all live together as long as then after the 15th you can go back.
This was in Kullu Manali?
He had written to him, and that is how my father, he loaded us in the car and took us to Kullu Manali. It must have taken us 2 to 3 days to reach there, but we did reach.
So you drove?
We drove.
Okay.
My father was the only driver.
He drove all the way?
He drove, and it was a very bad road, this much we remember. Very badly constructed road in the hills, and on the right hand side used to be the Beas River and the left hand side full hills. And I remember that kind of, fear and trauma in mind, when it used to get dark and how we used to feel you know. But my mother has been a very spiritual lady all along. So evening prayers and all that, she would include us also, that we should be with her, and you know. So
Do you remember the journey?
only this much, when we started hitting the hills, it was very, very traumatic. It was feeling that the station wagon is going to go down. And there never used to be a music or even nothing, not air conditioned car. But still, we didn't feel, we were used to such things. And but when we reached Kullu Manali, we forgot everything. My uncle's family, there were so many cousins and all that. We used to have great fun. Even when on the radio it was announced Lahore has gone to Pakistan, it must have been really, really very upsetting for my parents, because everything was left behind. And Pullarwan also, all my mother's jewelry, valuables, property, everything was left behind. And but we children really had fun, great fun there.
Now, when you came in the station wagon, what did your parents bring along with them?
Just what my mother used to carry for any hills earlier: woolen clothes, beddings, and few vessels, cooking vessels. Because then at that period, I think the houses never used to provide the cooking vessels when they rented out the houses. So that I remember, for the reason that till today, one or two pieces are still lying from Pullarwan, you see, and in my brother's home. Then,
do you remember the announcement when they announced?
I don't remember. I was too small. And but my sister, especially number 2 sister, she was great into politics and very aware, because when they were studying in college, my eldest sister especially got very involved with the freedom movement. And not that she openly took it up, because she was studying in one of the British colleges, but she would help her cousins, who were into this, and just taking the pamphlets and distributing them, and helping my cousins, who were into it. In fact, 2 of my cousins were behind bars also.
What were they doing? What activity were they involved in?
They were slogans and taking out the processions and all these things.
And where were they doing this?
Lahore.
And why was she not involved?
Because she was studying in that college, and at no cost she wanted to leave that college. She was very fond of her college.
And the cousins were not studying in a...
They were studying, but they were in other colleges like National Sikh College and all that. So they were taking the activities openly. And one of my cousins, he was behind bars for almost 9 months. And incidentally, my mother's uncle, since my Nanaji, that is mother's father, he had passed away when my mother was very young, say about 6 months or 9 months. But this uncle, he was like the family head. Whether people have heard his name or no, he was known as Baba Khadak Singh. He was into very much this freedom movement as well as Akali movement. And he was known as the uncrowned King of Punjab. And in his name, one road has been dedicated also in Delhi, Baba Khadak Singh. And that is the background of my family. And though my father also was a great patriot, but at the same time, British Raj and having been in business and all that, he was mixing up with all kinds of people and Britishers, and they were socializing also. Since he was fond of sports, he was into tennis and all, bridge. He had all the company with the white people, and they were very happy being with him also, being entertained in my parents' home and all that. So he was not that way, that he was a freedom fighter or something, but and
your cousins who were involved in the freedom movement, besides protesting and sloganeering and all, what other activities were they involved in?
No, mainly they were college students, but whatever the students do, not that they got into violence or anything. But I remember when this cousin of mine was behind bars, um, his father specially told him, though he used to discourage him, all the fathers, they like to protect their sons. Because when he was just sending some memoirs in one of the papers, my cousin, he said, okay, when my father came to beat me in the jail, he said, now if you have taken this step, don't go back, stick to it. It was like a hint that now he's doing the right thing. So that is how, everyone was involved also and not involved also. And in September, end of September, there were great floods in the Beas River in Kullu Manali. All the roads which we had driven down on to reach the place, they got washed away. So we literally walked back. At that time, another of my mother's brother, he was posted in Gurdaspur. And he said, okay, I have got a good job, and everyone at that time was trying to reach out and help, everyone else. So we whole family, first we stopped over in Dharamsala for about 2-3 weeks so that the roads improved, and then we traveled to that. I remember, because that was again very, very sort of traumatic. I mean, sometimes we used to have a horseback, no baggage with us, nothing, and we just walked and walked.
So when the announcement came to, just to go back a little bit, the announcement came that India and Pakistan is divided now, and Lahore has gone to Pakistan. What happened immediately after that? I want to understand that.
Well,
do you remember your parents' reaction?
Reaction, of course, they were very depressed, but I still wonder how they had managed all of us with no resources, nothing, and they never made us feel sad. They did not let that impact come on us. I was very young, so I really can't say much how my others, brothers and sisters, but we were all very happy, cheerful, playing about here and there amongst our cousins, and I mean, what they felt I really can't say, though when we came, settled down here, then I will come to that place, that how my father used to feel and narrate all these stories to us.
I see. So then at some point they decided that we have to leave Kullu Manali. What was the decision?
Of course, my father needed to do something to provide, and my uncles, other 2 uncles who were there also, so, and that these floods took place, and we all walked down to the plains, and then one of my father's nephews, he was posted in the army in Jalandhar, Kent, and my father didn't have any place to go to when we stayed in Gurdaspur for a couple of months with my mother's brother.
So how long was the journey when you walked from?
Almost 2 weeks.
And what did you do along the way to eat and sleep?
That was managed. I don't know how it was managed, but we were never sort of, that kind of a trauma, God has been with us. Really, we did see.
And what did your family carry with them and while walking?
Whatever we could, And rather, one of my mother's cousins, he had a fall from the hill into the valley and he died.
When you were walking?
When we were walking. It was a very bad kind of a road, and this incident I remember. Rather, he was carrying his daughter. She must have been my age, on his back. She was saved, not a bruise, but he died there. When he fell down, when his body was recovered, he was gone.
Both of them fell together?
Both of them fell together, but she was saved. I mean, I don't know how he fell, that child was saved and he died. And then while crossing another place, there was a huge beehive, and that beehive somehow, how it got disturbed, it came and attacked my aunt's face. That also I remember that incident as a child, that she was bitten all over her face, and we had to, I think, wait for a couple of days because she was running fever and all that.
And it attacked only her?
And luckily, I mean, probably we were saved that we were warned, we covered our faces or whatever. But it was she who was bitten. And then the claims office, if you are familiar with this term, that people who left the properties that side of Punjab, they could claim certain property in this part of Punjab. So that got opened in Jalandhar.
But so first your family started from Kullu Manali and reached Gurdaspur.
We reached Gurdaspur.
Why were you headed to Gurdaspur?
I told you that one of my uncles, he was posted in Dharamsala. We stopped over in Dharamsala for a few weeks. Then my Mamaji, mother's brother, he was posted in Gurdaspur. And he was with the Punjab local government in supplies and all that. So he said he could help us with beddings and some grains and all that. So you come there. So we went there.
And who was the uncle in Gurdaspur? How were you related to him?
My mother's brother.
Okay, so they were all your mother's brothers.
Yeah, two of them. But this in Dharamsala was my father's sister's husband.
And how did your family find its way? I mean, from Kullu Manali to...
The roads are there. Those tracks were there. That was no problem. And luckily, my father's side especially, we have been very sports-minded family. So we could manage. I mean, walk, hike, whatever we did. I mean, it was managed.
Okay.
And then, of course, from Gurdaspur to Jalandhar, we were brought by train because the car was still stuck in Kullu, that station wagon that my father had taken. And this, my father's nephew, he was posted in the army in Jalandhar, Kent. And he said that claims office has been opened in Jalandhar, so my father could come and make some claims wherever he can get something so that they can settle down. So then we were all taken to Jalandhar.
And how did you go to Jalandhar?
By bus, I think. I don't remember really.
And how long did you stay in Gurdaspur?
Almost 2 months.
And where were you staying? In your uncle's house or somewhere
I
else?
think so.
Okay.
There we managed whatever way, though his was also a large family. We were also so many of us, but it was managed. And then we came here to Jalandhar. There my brother-in-law, he said, this was my father's niece's husband. So he was colonel or something, and he said that there is a dark bungalow lying vacant, and for a week you can stay and look for something because the claim office was in the city, whereas this was in the cantonment. But somehow that dark bungalow was not asked to be vacated. We were not asked to vacate it. And for every week or every month it was getting that we could continue. We stayed there for 9 months.
And this was both your parents, your grandmother?
And 8 of us.
8 of you. And what happened to your other uncles who were in Kullu Manali with you?
Well, they went to other places. I won't be able to tell you. In the meanwhile, when we were still in Gurdaspur or Dharamsala, my eldest brother, my father's sister, she used to be living in Banaras. Her husband was with the Indian Railways. So she said, you send your son who wants to do engineering, I'll get him admitted in the college, pre-engineering, and then Banaras has all the facilities. So my brother was sent there. I mean, that also he has a very interesting story that my father just put him on the bus first and then he was to catch the train. Imagine a 16 years old coming from Kullarwan and Sargoda, not knowing where to go and how he managed. He has his own stories. I won't be able to tell you, but it must have been really very traumatic for him,
And this was your oldest brother?
Eldest brother. Of course, he retired as a general. So there he went. So now 7 of us and my grandmother and my parents. We were in Jalandhar cantonment. They had given us just 2 rooms this size and where we could manage. And in the meanwhile, my father, he went to the claims office and for property worth, I don't know how much, he was given almost room, two twice the size of this room as a small steel factory making hand tools like these hathodis and those iron presses. Earlier they used to be there, not the steam or electric, but just the iron presses which you warm on the coal that he was factory was making. Those were the only tools they were making, with a few machines which were helping in manufacturing those things.
So this was an established factory?
It must have been an established factory because those were the only things lying there, and the Muslims, those who left Jalandhar, they had left it behind.
Okay. So as part of the claims he was given...
Part of the claim he was, okay, you have left a factory there, this is a factory for you.
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, my father says that he was really without any funds, but luckily one of his cashiers who had sold some these bales they used to call cotton bales in Karachi, he got some money and he brought it here. How he could have brought it, I mean, my father says he put it in his belt of the pajama, and he brought it, and that helped him a lot. And in the meanwhile, for the refugees, we were now refugees, model towns started coming up in the district towns of Punjab. So in Jalandhar, they just put it that you start giving installments and they'll give us a house for after 1 year or 6 months. So my father started contributing to that also. There used to be 2 rooms, 1 kitchen, 1 bathroom and 1 lavatory. And verandas, small and big veranda. But my father got 2 together since we were a larger family, and my dadi used to be asthmatic. He always tried to provide her a very exclusive place so that she's comfortable. So he, after 9 months, stay in the dark bungalow. Because my mother was very particular, she didn't want to, Jalandhar is a very old type of a city, and it has narrow lanes and all, and she refused that she won't like to stay in one of those narrow streets. She won't like it. So this came up and they were happy that. But for myself, that was my first school there in Jalandhar.
Do you remember the name?
Yes, it was Government Model School, Jalandhar, Kent. And first school, why I'm saying, though I was 6+ when we moved to this part of India, I don't remember how I came up to class 4, because I was admitted into class 4 in this school, and it was 1948 March, because the school the sessions start in April, I think, March or April. That was the time I went to school first time. So I asked my sisters, not once, even till today I ask them, that where were my 3 classes? I don't remember, and I still cope up with my little bit of arithmetic, little bit of Gurmukhi and whatever they were teaching us. So she says my father used to have private teachers for us for each subject in the factory there, till we went to Sargodha to do schooling.
So in
Pullarwan.
In Pullarwan, you had private tutors.
Private tutors, but I just didn't remember. I only realized that I was being educated when I went to school, and luckily I could cope up.
Did you ever go to school in Lahore?
No, because we were there very temporarily. You see,
just for a few months.
Yeah, just for a few months.
Okay.
And so after we moved to Model Town Jalandhar, then I was educated in government high school there, and then my sisters also. But the lucky part was that government was really helpful at that time, in the sense that my eldest brother the number 2 brother, eldest brother had gone to Banaras, number 2 brother, he went to Khalsa school there. Why he was sent to Khalsa school, I don't know. Maybe it was free of fees, I don't remember. And then my father got my next brother admitted in government school. The other brother, youngest brother, who is older than me, he also in government school. Me, another government school, girls' school, and my youngest sister, she went to nursery from local nursery. So three of us, only my brother paid full fees, that used to be around 3 rupees. The rest, till the end of our schooling, we were paying half fees. Can you imagine? It was so subsidized. So that must have been a good help to my parents, And my father made arrangement that one peon should come from the school on a bike to drop me from home to school, and my three brothers used to walk every day 4 to 5, 6 kilometers to and fro. So.
And what did your father establish the factory then after that? Or
of course, he started running that factory, and that I remember he used to work very hard, very hard. He would go in the morning, even from the cantonment he started going to the factory. It was almost 15 kilometers or 16 kilometers or even more. And he would go by bicycle, come back home with bags full of vegetables because the family needed to be provided, the groceries and all that. How hard it must have been, I don't know. And my mother she always liked to have help in the kitchen, so a cook was always there. Maybe he had gone from Lahore only, I don't remember that. And a cook would be there, but she was so busy with all of us, feeding us, taking care of us, getting the beds made, how an Indian mother is, the clothes and everything, laundry. I mean, she really used to work the whole day. She would always say, I can sleep while walking also, you see. So, and when we moved to Jalandhar city, then my sister, who had finished her BA in Lahore only, she started working in AIR Jalandhar, All India Radio. She used to have a very good pronunciation of English, so for local English news reading, she was employed. And my next sister, her results were not declared, for her intermediate. They used to call it FA then, Faculty of Arts. So they they passed everyone. And on that, basis, she got an admission in Lady Irwin College, Delhi.
So this was the FA she had completed in Lahore?
In Lahore.
Okay.
But she had given her exams also, but the results were not declared. Generally, the results get declared in July, and the riots started taking place. The university got closed and all that. So when we all came here, all those people who had taken exams there in those colleges, whether BA or intermediate or whatever, they were given pass certificates. And since she had done it from Cannade College, Lady Irwin being another English college this side of India, she got admission there for home science. She used to be very keen, so she could somehow convince my father that if he could. So she was there from 49 to 52, 3 years course, 4 years course.
And she moved to Delhi to?
She moved to Delhi in the hostel. Yeah. So, and in the meanwhile, my next eldest brother, of course, after his intermediate, he joined the army instead of joining the engineering college, because he said he would do engineering while he joined the army. They have that facility also. So I'm just telling you this, that how my father was helping. In the meanwhile, my third brother, he was very keen to go to England. How my father had collected the funds, I don't know, or whatever ornaments my mother was left with, she probably sold them off and sent him to England. He went by ship, then there were no aeroplanes. It took him more than 3 weeks to reach England.
What did he go to England to do?
He went for aeronautical engineering. And he had his 16th birthday in England. You can imagine. He was so young. And 7 years, there was no phone call between the parents and the son. 7 years. He visited back first time after 7 years. Of course, after that he never went back. But I'm just telling you how the life used to be. How my parents must have felt, and only the letters.
So I want to go back and ask you about a few things that you mentioned. One of the things you said was an employee of your father brought some funds
Yeah.
from Lahore. Was he also moving to India?
Yeah. He was a Sardar, and he naturally was to settle down this side only. But very, very nice of him. And my father, even till late life also, he would sometimes wake up in the morning and he said, I was visiting Pullarwal. You know? So, how much he must have really felt.
He missed that. Yeah.
My mother never used to say anything, though she must have felt even worse. So much of facilities and money and everything, but she never used to say. She always felt contented and made us feel that there is nothing to be worried about, you know. So that was the attitude of my parents.
And did you live in Jalandhar then? Your whole family lived in Jalandhar from there on out?
Yeah, because then my number 2 brother, after he finished his intermediate, my father insisted that he won't be able to send him to the engineering college. He better join him in the factory because he needed help. And this must have been in late 50s when he must have finished his second year. Late 50s or mid 50s. He was just about 18 years when he joined my father. And but he was young and he was energetic. He worked very hard. My father was a great disciplinarian, and he was traveling all over India to get the orders for whatever they were making. Then he explored the market overseas also. I mean, while traveling within India also, and see the possibility if he could export also. So, I mean, my 2 sisters got married in 1952, the next one 53. But by the time my eldest brother got married in 58, things had really started improving. And this brother worked very hard. Then he opened the factory to overseas also, like in the sense that opened his business towards Middle Eastern countries. First he used to come to Dubai and all that, to whatever things they could sell there, because they were also, growing up countries then, Middle Eastern countries. They were not advanced countries now, like these days. I'm talking of 50s. And so things started changing. Then from a small factory, they first extended the same factory, and then they made another factory, beautiful big factory came up, and with lot of staff and labor and their own machines and own these furnaces and all that.
And they stuck with the iron and
Yeah.
metal.
Matlab, these are now what they call hand tools and mainly those things.
I see.
But improving, like lathes and all these machines, they were being made there. And this brother really took the factory quite ahead. And then my youngest brother, he also did his BCom, and my father wanted that the finances should be managed from within the family, so he was also admitted into the factory, to take care of the finances. So that is how these things were, growing. And
So I want to go back actually a little further. One of the things you had mentioned was that your eldest sister got married while you were still in undivided India. Do you remember her wedding and how she got married?
I don't remember her wedding, but she tells me that by the time she got married, as soon as she finished her BA, then Quit India movement had started. And then even all Indian stuff should be purchased and all. And her trousseau was made from everything Indian. The pure silks, the pure muslin cloth from Dhaka and all these. She insisted that everything that is made, and my father could afford also. They were very costly than the imported stuff. But excepting, I think, these dinner sets and all, my my father had already collected them from Karachi, so he wanted to gift them to her, and probably still some pieces are lying with her, I mean in her home, I don't know, but these things I remember that she was very much into this.
So it was at her insistence that they had the...
Yes, it was she who was keen that everything should be from Indian.
Okay. And so when she got married, where did she move to?
Her in-laws were in Sargodha, but her husband was doing some business contract jobs in Bhopal, Delhi and Bhopal. So she moved to Delhi. After partition, they came to Delhi, her in-laws' family. She was there for some time, and then he got a job in Bhopal, and she has lived there in Bhopal all these years.
So during partition, what happened with her? She was already in Bhopal?
No. Okay. I think she was with her in-laws in Sargodha, and then they moved to Delhi. Okay. Because her mother-in-law's brother, he was the builder of Delhi, Sir Sobha Singh, if you know the name. Sir Sobha Singh was my brother-in-law's mother's brother. So they too had their own families, to come over. So that side of family, they have all moved to Delhi.
So is there a story with how she migrated with her in-laws to...
Not really, I won't know.
Okay. But it was separate from your family?
Yeah. But she visited us when we were in Dharamsala. I remember that. Then we were very small and we were so excited that she's coming and we will be touching her nice clothes, and she was newly married then, year and a half or two. So like that.
So she was already in India when you reached Dharamsala?
She was. Maybe they had moved earlier than us. I don't remember that.
So I'm going to stop it for...
Yeah.
Okay, so Mrs. Deep Jabbi, I just wanted to continue the interview. A few things I wanted to ask you about life before partition in Pullarwan and then in a little bit in Lahore. So you had said that at some point you moved from Pullarwan to Sargodha.
Not my parents. No. They were going and coming because the rest of the family, like my father's sisters, were there, and many relatives, and my eldest sister got married into one of the families there. So Sargodha used to be like huge Baradari, the whole clan was there. Otherwise, I don't think my father ever moved there because his business was in Pullarwan.
So from Pullarwan only the only move was to Lahore?
My eldest sister did her high school from there, both the sisters actually, and my brother too, because there was no high school in Pullarwan. It was a very small place and a backward place. So.
And you had mentioned that in Pullarwan you had private tutors teaching
in the house.
In the house.
Yeah.
And was the house in the factory compound?
Yeah, that I remember. It was within the factory premises, but quite away. And it was not a factory which used to, sort of emit smoke or anything. I don't remember, though they used to have rolling places, what they used to call press, where the bales would be pressed and then rolled down. It was known as cotton rolling mills. And I was told that while we were young, or my sisters, brothers especially, they used to slip over those, and our undies used to get torn also, and we used to get, told. And it was such a huge place that during summers, instead of people going, if my father hadn't taken the family to the hills, my father's 5 sisters, their children used to come and play here in Pullarwan, because the same age group, and there was a lot of space and all that.
I see. And what was your mother's role in the household?
Mainly taking care of the family and the house. Okay. And but she was very meticulous in everything, keeping the house very neat, and even with minimal things like after partition, hardly things could be brought from Kullu. They were only brought when the station wagon came after the roads were built and all. So whatever was left behind, it was brought in the station wagon later. And she could manage, and gradually when they collected things. But this I remember, she was a very meticulous housewife.
And do you remember the house?
Pullarwan? Yes, it was a very, very huge house, and I this much remember, there used to be middle gallery, and first room on the right or left used to be dining hall, the left a drawing room, formal drawing room, then the bedrooms, huge bedrooms, and then after the gallery there was a big courtyard, and in the left side of the corner used to be a kitchen, open, covered, that kind of a kitchen. And on the left side used to be the staircase where my sister's rooms used to be there. I don't remember which room I belonged to or which room belonged to me. I don't remember that. But my sister's room, I remember that they used to have on both sides of the staircases, and the windows used to overlook the main courtyard and all that, like that. And the garden behind that used to have these maltas, that oranges, navel oranges, what they call, lots of them. And then my father had his own stables and cow sheds and all that. Very big area.
Did you have friends as well in that area? Do you
You
remember?
will be surprised, we have never missed friends in life so far because we have had very good friends, each one of us. But at the same time, we have been so close amongst siblings that we never missed company.
Did your parents have friends in other communities or
My
anything?
father used to be very social. My mother, no, because she stuck to the house because of us all. I mean, she was so conscious that it was a large family that even when she would be invited, they would be invited for weddings in the family. Either she won't go or she won't take us. Just Pitaji and Biji, my parents would go. Like.
Yeah. And did your father have friends? I know you mentioned that he had
Yes,
some British friends. Did he have friends?
British also, others amongst Muslims, Hindus. Their names also we remembered them till quite, because he used to often talk about them. He used to be very keen on playing bridge. He was very keen on tennis, and if he had really worked hard, he would have been probably first Olympian in hockey. He was a very good hockey player. So the same things then continued to my brothers, and all of us. We have been into very much sports, and he was.
Yeah. Do you remember friends from other communities coming to your home, visiting?
Well, I was too small. I really won't. But my mother used to say that we used to entertain a lot, all of them. Okay. She was not going much, but my father's friends came, and then he was saying that in summers, since they didn't run the factory, and if they were there, then in summers it used to be so hot. They used to have a basement downstairs, and they used to have hand ceiling fans which used to be pulled by men, and then he himself would go and sit under the trees to play bridge with friends the whole summer if we were not going to the hills. Otherwise, general practice used to be that they would go to hills for 3-4 months.
And mostly Kullu Manali and
these nearby, Komari, so like that. The names that I've heard, yeah. I only remember of Kullu, and then later when we started going to college and my brother had joined the business, then we started going to Dalhousie and all this. That practice started again.
Yeah. And with your father's family being in Pullarwan, do you have knowledge of what the history was of past generations that settled in Pullarwan, how they came to be in Pullarwan?
Yes. My father's family, actually, there is a village, Hadali, and my grandfather belonged to that place, Hadali. That also, Sargodha district came into being much later. So, from Hadali, they moved to Pullarwan, because my grandfather was more enterprising kind. He wanted to industrialize the place, and he bought some lands in the other parts of near Sargodha only, I don't know, Chakeriya, or I don't remember the name. So, where my Tayaji's son was given the lands and all that. But it was my grandfather who came to Sargodha, Pullarwan to establish.
I see. And was there a reason he moved from his ancestral home?
Yes, they all like to, go forward. Everyone likes to advance. So he had his lands in Hadali, but that was a desert area.
I see. Where is Hadali exactly?
The, next to it also falls in Hadali, Jabbi, all these Jabbi, this name is from neighboring village there only. Though the family is my parents' family and my husband's, they didn't know names as such, only the grandfathers or great grandfathers must have been knowing. But these parents didn't know each other till the proposal started coming from each other that my husband and myself we get married. All these Jabbi, Hadali, Nalli, mainly the Khurana clan, they belong to that side.
I see. And then they moved, your father moved to Pullarvan.
My grandfather.
Your grandfather moved to Pullarvan and established.
Okay. Pullarvan was part of it, Sargodha, because that district town started.
And what about your mother's family? Where were they
She
from?
belonged to Sialkot.
Okay.
She was totally an urbanized lady, and for her coming to this side, she felt little, okay, this was more rural and not all that advanced, whereas her family was more advanced. And
I see.
her engagement was a very interesting story. Like I told you, her uncle was a great freedom fighter, Baba Khadak Singh, and she was very good at writing in Punjabi, and she used to write letters to her uncle in the jail when he was in the jail. And my father's uncle was also there in the prison, and they were friends. And they used to talk, and in the course of conversation he mentions that this is my niece, my brother's daughter, and my brother is no more, but she keeps sending me letters. And my mother was just about 18, 19 then, but she writes beautifully. So he took a couple of letters and read them, and he just writes to my father's father, I have fixed your son with this daughter, so you don't look for girls there. And that is how the engagement took place. Because Sargodha and Sialkot were very far apart. And Sargodha families had the tendency to marry the children amongst their own families, amongst their own clan. But my father got married to outside. My mother's side is Aluwalia. Though we don't go after caste or anything, but still, the clans become different. Bradri just. So she was from that side.
Great. So I also want to ask you, as a child, if you remember any festivals or entertainment, what you all did, games and
well,
things.
in Pullarvan, this much I remember, that there used to be lot of UP labor from UP, and during the Sarah days they used to make those paper horses and then put around themselves and then used to dance. Now I won't be able to explain to you, but very colorful horses they used to make, and then they would dance. Only their own faces would be outside, the rest four limbs also, and their tail also, and the face would be horse coming in front of their stomach, and they would be dancing, women, men, both. So that used to be very interesting. This much I remember.
So that was a tradition they brought with them.
They brought with them.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
And during the Sarah days, this much I remember. And when we moved to Jalandhar, of course, it was a small city, and we used to have Diwali, Dussehra, Gurpurabs, of course, and we used to enjoy.
Now, was your father able to recover any of the assets that you left behind when you left that summer?
No material assets, as I told you.
Yeah. Was he? Did he ever try to go back or anything?
Well, he didn't go back. My brothers have been, and one of my brothers could go even up to Pullarvan and saw that house also. And
When did he go?
I think about 4 years back. Everyone is not permitted to travel in each city of Pakistan, but since now he is citizen of Australia, he was given that permission. And my sister also, who lives in Australia, she could also go up to Sargodha, I think. But my other brother, he has been there also up to Lahore. He has a very good friend in Lahore also. who is sending, all of us are in touch with him on email, and they are in touch.
I see.
I
Right.
haven't visited Pakistan.
Did your parents ever want to visit?
Then my mother never showed that kind of keenness. My father, no, I think he was, once they left, they left.
I see.
Because he knew, like, he could imagine the kind of conditions we came here and what the Muslims had left for us. The same must have happened there, and the Muslims, how they must have treated our properties and all that. So, nothing much really.
Great. And you mentioned that after you left Kullu Manali, your family moved eventually to Jalandhar. How long after that were you able to get your car from?
I think it was sometime in November or December.
Okay.
I think so, because then my father didn't run the car because it was too expensive. So he was going to the factory 15-20 kilometers only on bicycle. This I remember. He used to go and come back on bicycle.
So he was able to recover the car and
He could bring the car.
okay.
Yeah.
And you kept it.
He kept it for a while. Yes, because we moved to Model Town house in that car only, and then we once he was so enthusiastic, he loaded all of us, including my grandmother, and we went to all the gurdwaras within Punjab. We were very small, and still, and that I remember, it was in the station wagon.
Okay.
So,
But he didn't operate it every day.
no.
All right. Any other thoughts or incidents or memories you have that you want to share with us?
Well, memories are so many. Thank you so much.
I just want to make sure we haven't missed talking about anything.
Not really.
So, how do you feel about partition today when you think back and what happened with your family?
Well, as I told you, my parents had a very positive attitude. With the result, we have been always very optimistic. And me being very young in the ladder of my brothers and sisters, we were very protected and kept away from anything happening, really speaking, like ignorant. We were kept ignorant about everything. What my brothers and sisters must have felt, and felt the losses also, I can imagine though, but I can't feel that kind of intensity about it. And now when I read about these books and I get to see a lot of documentaries and films, I mean, I really feel very pained, especially if you remember there was a lot of injustice done to the women both sides, Muslims as well as Indians. And that was the time when Amrita Pritam, our famous Punjabi poetess, she had written those lines. Aaj Aakhan Waris Shah, if you are familiar with those lines. Maybe other people must have quoted it also. I mean, when I was growing up at that time, I could not feel that intensely. I used to be a fan of Amrita Pritam's writings. And but now when I look back, I shudder. I became more aware and I really feel. And recent film, they have shown Bhag Milka Bhag. I wonder if you've seen it. I mean, in that also they have shown the impact of the partition on the little boy. You see, it makes all the difference. So, everyone has one's own, but when I look back, I really feel. And I read a lot about Pakistan now. I mean, I feel very curious what the culture is, because I am very fond of classical music, and Pakistanis are great into Pakistan music, Indian classical music. And lately they showed one documentary film, a set of documentary films in Chandigarh about classical music in Pakistan. And it was so interesting and heartening that we are so alike, being Punjab, both sides. And they are speaking Punjabi in most of the places. And it is so much, we feel so much closer to each other. you know, that now in this side of Punjab, people are more switching over to Hindi because of the television and all that. But whereas they are sticking to their own Punjabi, and those who are fond of speaking Punjabi like me and reading Punjabi, we feel very connected. So I feel very inquisitive to know what all is happening, which are the advancing cities there, and what is the status of women there, and how education is going on. You know, I like to read. So I've been reading, and I keep reading about that. So
Do you feel now that you think back about what happened, do you feel that things could have been done differently?
uh,
Any thoughts?
well, other things, whether done differently or no, but I feel that we could have had friendlier relations, in the sense that that kind of enmity that children are being instilled in, especially in Pakistan. You know, it's not in India. Like in Indian textbooks, it's never there. Okay, um, Pakistanis have been bad to us or anything, you know. Whereas in their textbooks, I know it, it is written there, ke hate India, hate Indians, hate India. So that is instilled in there. So when they come to see cricket matches and all these, people just change their minds, they change their opinions. But otherwise, I remember we had, where my husband was working, he had a couple of Muslim friends, his colleagues, excellent families. We made friends with them, but both from this side of India, one from Bihar and the other one from UP. Very nice friends. And his one of the gentleman's sisters, she was married in Lahore, and his sons used to visit often. And once they wanted to come um, by road, you know, to Delhi instead of coming by air. I still remember. So my father sent the car to them on the Wagah border to receive them. I requested that they are coming, and they are very good friends of ours, and I know both the children wanted to come with their mother, and so he made arrangement. And on the return journey also, then they had to go the same way. And my father asked them, when they met all of us, they used to meet us often, and they said, my father asked, Acha, children, how did you find your experience and all that when they had little grown up? So they say, very nice, but we are hate India and hate Indians, you know, we are taught that way, and we do that. You see, it's like that. It was they who said, and my father was so hurt. He was so hurt. He says there was no reason. They could have just kept quiet. But they were children, you know, so they just mentioned. So, and they said that they are taught like that in schools. So that was very depressing. Though we kept our friendship, I mean, even now we meet those people and all that. But not the sister and her children, because now we are retired and living in Chandigarh, and they are in Lahore, and these two families, one is in Lucknow and the other in Bangalore. But Bangalore family, this family, we always exchange Eid greetings. They call us on Diwali, you know, like that. So we have the same relations. But some place, you know, you do feel hurt if part of their family thinks this way, though they are not responsible for it.
Do you think about the time and place like Pullarwan and where you lived before? Does that come into your memory?
Pullarwan? Not really.
Do you think that the government could have done things differently to handle things?
Now especially, we can be really friendly, and they can remove that, like I was reading in one of the places, that so many countries, they have such nice borders between them, like a bed of flowers or some music going on, and we have a wire of thorns, and you know, these steel spikes and all these that. And I went to Wagah border the other day, just about 2 months back, and it is a very interesting ceremony though, but at the same time they are very friendly, both the sides of the guards, but at the same time when they are performing, at that time they are showing boots to each other and I believe at night they are playing cards amongst themselves and having jokes and all these things. So why not during the daytime for the public also the same relationship should be kept? And why these borders which are so dangerous, we could be friendly.
So, do you have any message for future generations? Any thoughts for us and other future generations?
Well, I feel all human beings are the same, whether Pakistanis or Indians. We should love each other and we are all alike. So my message is that peace everywhere.
Great. Well, thank you. On behalf of the 1947 Partition Archive, I'd really like to thank you, Mrs. Jabbi, for inviting me and for giving us your time.
Thanks. It has been a great pleasure sharing with you, but wish could say more, but that's enough.
That's good. Thank you
So much.